Another international window for Mexico, where Cruz Azul in this case are the base of the squad, just like back in 2002 with Vasco Aguirre and his first tenure of the Mexican national team. Cruz Azul are at the base of this convocatoria to face off against Honduras in the Nations League quarterfinals, if I'm not mistaken. A very familiar rival that we've already faced off almost exactly a year ago from when this game will take place. But before we get into everything, make sure you guys subscribe, like, check out all our platform links down below. Welcome back to another episode of Football. I'm your host as always, and we got Tomas back in the mix. Tomas has been working a lot. He's a hard worker over here, but it's good to have you back on the pod. And hopefully we can give you guys some insight about the Selección Mexicana, about what's been going on there, and then our thoughts of the call-ups, all the players that have been called up, our predicted lineup for the game against Honduras, and predictions and other minor things that we'll throw in there as well. But first, Tomas, just want to check up on you, bro. How you been? I know it's
Been
been a
good,
minute.
bro. Been good. Been itching to come back. Just now, I gotta put them hours in.
Yeah, I get you. Well, it's good to have you back, first off. And what a way to get you back in. We'll talk about the Selección Mexicana, something that to us it means a lot. So first off, let's start with the fact that Cruz Azul is the base of the squad. How do you feel about Cruz Azul being one of the bases of this convocatoria to face off against Honduras? Is that something you're cool with? You agree with it?
I mean, I don't have anything against it. They are the best team in Liga MX right now. They're the most complete team.
Yeah.
And the only thing that I don't like, and well, quite frankly, I hate, is the fact that Charlie Rodriguez is there on the squad. Now, I'm pretty sure he's a good guy, a good family man, but I mean, his only real sin is being a football player. But other than that, I mean, I don't have anything against Cruz Azul other than the fact that Charlie Rodriguez
Yeah,
is.
it's weird because like he performs well for Cruz Azul, but when it comes to the national team, I mean, we don't really have to go too deep into it. Everybody has the same exact feeling, especially in the Mexican national team community, but he doesn't step up when we really need him to. Uh,
He's just a terrible player. What else can we say?
so we'll get into his call up, maybe someone that we might want to replace him with. We'll talk about the other players, but let's just go line for line. We'll go with the goalkeepers first. Angel Malagon, Raul Rangel, and then Guillermo Ochoa is the surprise kind of in this convocatoria. He was in the last one when we faced off against Valencia and the United States, but I don't know. I feel like he just I don't really want to see him in there, especially in the game in the Nations League matchup against Honduras. I feel like we really don't need Ochoa, and a lot of pundits have been saying like, "Oh, we need him for experience. He's probably going to start because he has that experience." But Malagon has already played this match exactly a year ago. He was the one that saved us against Honduras from that humiliation and almost being left out of the Copa America. I mean, he single handedly got us into the Copa America based off of his performances. So he already has the experience enough of that to be there. I mean, one of the best goalkeepers in Liga MX, if not the best in Liga MX, and Angel Malagon. Um, so let's start off with the goalkeepers. I don't know. What do you think of these three being called up?
I mean, look, Angel Malagon, I can see why he's there. Although he's having a rough season,
Mhm.
although he's not one of the best goalkeepers right now, at least in the league, he deserves to be there. Raul Rangel, statistically as a goalkeeper, he's supposed to be here. We saw his stats earlier. He has a high stat in save ratio, penalty saved as well.
Mhm.
The thing with Memo Ochoa is that now it just feels like it's the equivalent to that one old ass uncle that joins in the cousins playing soccer. It's just like, go sit down, bro. Like, you're gonna hurt something. Like,
Yeah, it just feels undeserved.
there's nothing that Memo Ochoa would be able to do or have a better function in that than Angel Malagon or Talar Rangel have. I mean, he's not gonna be
Exactly.
able to jump higher. He's not gonna be able to, come out faster than them. He's not better on his feet than Malagon. He doesn't have the save ratio that Raul Rangel has. Why is he here? That's my
Yeah.
only. I mean, we saw the goal that he ate. I think it was like a week and a half ago, where the sun was in his eyes and he kind of just kneels to the ground, praying to the
Yeah.
Lord.
Who knows what the fuck he was thinking of or doing in that case? But yeah, based off of performances and then statistically alone, I mean, I don't think he deserves to be there for sure. I think why not give Padilla a chance? I mean, we've already seen him at least strapped up for Athletic Club. We've seen him play at least 5, 6 top level matches in La Liga, and he's always performed well when he's been called upon.
Yeah.
It hasn't played recently because the second goalkeeper has already come back, but I mean, I think he at least deserves to be the third, not Ochoa. Ochoa shouldn't be there
And the
over
thing is
someone like Padilla.
that people say that why would they take Padilla if he has no experience? I'd rather take someone with experience. Historically, that third goalkeeper seat is for a player that doesn't have experience. It was for when Jesus Corona was coming up. It was for when Talavera was coming up. It was for players who not necessarily were going to play, but were going to be able to experience what it is to travel with the team, what it
Yeah.
is to play, to practice with the team for a major tournament, or
It,
in this case, the Nations League.
it was for Ochoa when he was coming up too, and he was behind Conejo and Osvaldo Sanchez at some time.
Yeah, and now they've turned this third goalkeeper spot into an experience seat, but it's not needed. Anton Malagón has the experience. He proved that.
Yeah,
Now that
exactly.
seats for a chavo of 20, 21 years old. Somebody that's younger.
Mhm.
That's in my
And
opinion.
definitely someone like Alex Padilla. I think he is the third best Mexican goalkeeper. And I don't think there's any doubt about that. Let's go to the defense. We have a few interesting names. That one that was actually left out too in Johan Vasquez. He's out because of some muscular problems he's had, but I think probably it's for the best reason. He can be safe at his club. This is not an all important matchup in against Honduras. But we got Cesar Montes, Jorge Sanchez, Rodrigo Huescas, Reyes, Angulo, El Chiqueto Orozco, Gallardo, Victor Guzman. And the Victor Guzman was the surprise, I guess you can say, because he's the one that's taking Johan Vasquez's spot. But other than that, I mean, pretty straightforward. I have any problems with the players that are getting called up for defense. They're just maybe the only exclusion, or maybe someone that could have been traded out. I mean, or brought in could have been Alan Mosso for one of the defenders. I know you probably would say the same thing, and that's probably one of the biggest discussions that we've had is that who is the better player, Jorge Sanchez or Alan Mosso? Because I feel like they're almost on the same par, but one might give you a little bit more. And if we're just looking at, again to this game against Honduras, I mean, who really fits this match up a little bit more? Is it
I mean,
Jorge or is it Alan?
I feel like it's completely Alan because Jorge, no disrespect to him, but he's soft. I mean, we've seen it in many games. I mean, we saw it versus the U.S. He's just inherently soft. Mosso has, I mean, just more balls. What can I say? He's able to confront situations. He's able to go forward. He loses the ball and he's able to track back. Where it's Jorge Sanchez, he loses the ball and he kind of just lays on the ground playing with his Barbies. But and what can I say? I mean, that's what I like. That's what I like to see. I mean, Alan Mosso statistically is a better defender, and in the scheme of Javier Aguirre that likes to be a defensive-minded coach, Alan Mosso runs circles around Jorge Sanchez defensively. Yes, Jorge Sanchez is in a better offensive team, giving him better offensive stats.
Yeah, because that's like the big thing with Jorge Sanchez. Like going forward, he's I think he's produced a lot better than in times before, but that has to do with the formation that he plays at Cruz Azul with Anselmi, because he's not playing as a regular right back. He's a right wing back,
Yeah,
and he
he
has
has
just
more.
all the liberty to go forward. He doesn't really have to focus in defending.
Exactly. And I mean, Alan Mosso right now he's just leading in so many things defensively where I can't write him off at all. I mean,
Yeah,
he's leading and he's one of the leaders in the percentage of tackles won. He's one of the leaders in um just successful dribbles as a right back,
hmm
which is, I mean, if you think about it offensively, he's not all that, but it's because he'll dribble out of situations, just let the ball go simply.
but I'm not even gonna lie. Mosso can be kind of goofy in defense, and I mean it's not really gonna show up on stats. But I mean, when you watch a game, watch him play, I think what helps him a lot is that in recovery he's quick. So when he does fuck up, he's able to get back to the ball or get back in defense when he really needs to be.
I
But
mean,
Jorge
like,
Sanchez, I feel like might beat him in that spot
yeah,
slightly though. It's not like drastically.
I mean, it's just defensively. Alan also has more recoveries than Jorge Sanchez in percentage as well. Not only that, interceptions as well, or shots blocked. I mean, you can't argue that you want a right back, a defensive right back at least in this
Mhm.
case. and you pick Jorge Sanchez over Alamoso. Maybe if you would say an offensive right wing back, where you're switching it up into a 3-5-2, or maybe a high wing back for a or a 4-4-2. But other than that, I mean, there's
But
nothing.
okay, now think about this game that we're going to be playing against Honduras. Honduras, realistically, they're going to be sitting in their box, so we're going to have most of the ball. We're going to have most of the authority to play and go forward. Wouldn't someone like Jorge Sanchez provide a little bit more on that right hand side, at least going forward, than not
If we're,
Almoso, because he will
if we're
probably
playing
have more like ability to go forward?
if we're playing a 3-5-2, I agree. But if we're playing a four-man back, I don't agree. Not at all. There would be no way that you'd want to start Jorge Sanchez as a right back in a four-man back because he's not able to track back. He's not able to come back and recover. His stats show it. Everything shows it. I mean, he was at Porto. He literally got benched for not tracking back in one game. So it's not something new. We know this.
Yeah, I think someone like Moso would have been nice to see in the call up, but I don't think the fact that Jorge Sanchez is there is terrible. I mean Jorge Sanchez has proven at least this season that he has done well. I was watching an interview the other day and he was saying that, oh, I love setting goals for myself. I love difficult goals especially, but that kind of was ironic because I mean he went to Ajax, he went to Porto, was eating a lot of bench over there. He was a bench player, and I'm pretty sure those were difficult goals or difficult like obstacles to overcome. But the first thing he did instead of fight for a spot is just come back to Mexico.
I mean, he probably just likes difficult goals so people could feel bad for him. Like,
That's the only thing I don't like about Jorge Sanchez is that when it did get tough for him, when he had the opportunity to go play in Europe, he didn't take advantage of it, and he had to come back to Mexico to regain his level. And I think that's it. That's his level is only Mexican league level, and that's really just we need players that can provide a lot more, especially for the future. Now, let's go to the midfielders. Midfielders, everything's pretty straightforward here as well, except for two new faces. Well, one new face and then one returning face in Luis Chavez. So we got Luis Chavez coming back, Eric Lira, who has been performing well for Cruz Azul and for the Mexican national team when we've seen him play. Orbelin Pineda for sure, of course, has to be there. Charlie Rodriguez, I mean, we don't even have to really go into that. Alexis Gutierrez is the new face, his first call up with the Mexican national team. 24-year-old attacking midfielder for Cruz Azul has done very well. 3 goals, 3 assists for Cruz Azul. Um, Probably one of their more influential midfielders alongside Romo and Carlos Rodriguez, and then Edson Alvarez and Luis Romo as well. Edson Alvarez is also a sticky situation because with West Ham, he hasn't been performing well. I mean, we've seen the games where he's always constantly getting sent off. He's had like 3 send offs in the past like 4, 5, 6 matches or so. So he
I think
hasn't
it's
been
been
that disciplined. He's been losing his head in the Premier League a lot. I don't know how he's gonna do when it comes to the Mexican national team. I guess we're just gonna have to see. But overall, what are your thoughts of the midfielders that Vasco brought?
I mean, it's expected, but the only disappointment that I take out right there is Charlie, obviously. And I'm not even
Yeah,
going to get into it. I could have a whole episode of talking bad about him statistically, and I mean,
Charlie, who would you have replaced him with? There was 2 that we talked about beforehand that could have been possible replacements. Um, who would you have gone for?
I mean, look, if you're watching this podcast right now, I probably would have replaced Charlie with you. But I mean, anybody really. I mean, if they find somebody like Limos Neto right there, right entering the stadium, just put him in. Dress him up. He's gonna do the same thing as Charlie. But I professionally, I'd probably Canelo or Marcel for
I
sure.
love Canelo, bro, and I've already mentioned him on this pod plenty of times. Even made videos about him. But Canelo, probably one of the best number 10s in the league. I know that's not necessarily a like for like. Or Charlie plays a little bit deeper, but I mean Angulo can definitely do that as well. Pick up the ball from a little deeper and then create from there. At least I feel like he deserves it for sure. El Canelo, and I mean, compared to Charlie, I've seen enough of him with the Mexican national team. Yes, he's playing for Cruz Azul, the best team in Liga MX, and yes, he plays exceptionally well with Cruz Azul, but that's it. That's his level, just Liga MX. But when it comes to the international stage, in high pressure moments, I haven't seen him step up. And why not give the opportunity to someone else for sure,
My
or
question is
even
this.
Marcelo Ruiz.
Yeah. My question is this: is there even is there like a boycott versus like creative to look at midfielders? Because I mean,
Right? Because
I look at Charlie and I see and Alexis Gutierrez. Alexis Gutierrez being slightly better than Charlie, yes, but really in all, Charlie and Alexis Gutierrez play very similar. You know, touch the ball, move the ball. They don't really dribble forward. They're kind of just there moving the ball around.
Mhm.
Why not give a position where you have two players with the same style? Why not switch it up and give it to a Marcel Ruiz who at least has the balls to dribble forward and touch the ball a little bit more forward, or Canelo Angulo that's very creative going forward and even creating opportunities to go.
Yeah, no, and especially because Toluca this season offensively have been better than Cruz Azul. At least I don't know statistically. I would have to look up what the stats are. Who has better or more goals going forward and more opportunities created? But I mean, based off what I've seen, Toluca play much prettier football going forward. The only difference between Cruz Azul and Toluca is that Toluca just defensively they're iffy. Cruz Azul a lot more solid in defense.
Yeah,
But the base of that is Marcelo Ruiz, is Canelo Angulo. And then even a kid like Isaias Yolante, who also could have been in this call up if we had the balls to call up a 19-year-old, but it's clear that there's no one that has balls in this national team or in the board or anybody that really wants to take a risk with young guys that are doing things well. So uh, those are three big players that definitely could have been in there for honestly any of these players, especially because, like I've already mentioned, it's just a Nations League matchup. Like it's not like this is gonna help us qualify to the World Cup or no, I mean I don't know. It's not the most important of matches for sure.
yeah,
And then also ironically, you think that we're gonna be the second leg is gonna be held in Toluca. Why not play with players that are already accustomed to playing on that field?
yeah. But
Now I just thought about that.
I mean, like Marcel Ruiz and Canelo Angulo have the level to play there. We're not saying this because we think they do. We know they do because they're one of the better midfields in La Liga MX. I understand Alexis Gutierrez and Charlie's role, but it's not going to be enough.
Yeah. I think if we were to compare them statistically, and I don't know. Statistically, I feel like Marcel and Canelo probably have better numbers. I would have to double check, but I think they would probably have better numbers than both um, Alexis and Charlie for sure. I mean, Angulo by himself already has like 10, 11 goal contributions this season, and that's already
Yeah,
more than probably both Charlie and Alexis combined.
yeah, because Alexis has six and Charlie's. I mean, I'd have to check.
And Charlie has like 4 assists this season, but I don't think he scored any goals this season either. So now let's go to the forward. Oh, well, actually, before we go to the forwards, Luis Chavez. I love that he's back. He's actually been in good form. He's kind of recovered some form. I think he scored a brace at the weekend, and he had an assist as well, maybe a game or two before. So he's picking up in form a little bit with this club. Let's see if he can bring that to the national team. And then to kind of close things off for the last few names, Diego Lainez is called up. Surprisingly, really don't know why. Alexis Vega for sure has to be there. Julian Quinones makes his way back. He's been performing well with Alquadzia. Osiel Herrera is back in this lineup. Angel Sepulveda is the novedad. He hasn't been called up since I think 2019, so it's good to see him back, especially because he's the second best goal scorer in the MX. Memote Martinez. Do you know why he's there? I don't know. I don't know why he's there.
I heard
Raul
they took
Jimenez and then Henry
I heard
Martin.
they took him because he's good at like picking up luggage.
Yeah, he's pretty big, so he could probably carry some luggages with him. Raul Jimenez and then Henry Martin, both deservedly have to be there as well. I think just the big if ones are Guillermo Martinez and Diego Lainez. You
Oh,
probably
for
could have
sure.
replaced either one of them with someone else. But
Yeah,
I
for
love that Sepulveda is in.
okay. Uncle Sepulveda, that's the new call up, right?
Yes,
I mean, he's shown why he has to be there. You know, 9 goals, 17 games. Although it's not all that, it is one of the better stats that we have in Liga MX, sadly.
yeah.
So yeah, just give him a chance to see. Let's see what he has. I mean, we have Guillermo Martinez, so I doubt he can be worse than him.
Yeah, that's the controversial thing is why you're gonna bring four strikers. I don't understand the logic between
For sure.
behind having four strikers. You could have easily taken out Memorte Martinez, maybe brought another midfielder like Canelo instead. Because I mean, all we really need is three strikers. We only play with one striker up top. So
Unless he's playing a 4-4-2.
yeah, that's the only. But that's where I also don't understand. We're gonna be playing against Honduras. It's not like we need to play a 4-4-2. Like we're gonna play a higher line. We're gonna play offensive. Um, you
I
don't
mean,
need someone like Memote.
Vasco's full of surprises. He might go defensive and let Honduras attack us, and we counterattack them. I mean, it wouldn't be bad. Give Honduras the balls, they won't do anything with it.
That's true, and then just hit them on the counter. I guess
But
we'll
then
see what's gonna happen. What is really the thought process? Because right now, overall, what are your what is your rating on this list on the players that are called up?
I'd say it's a 7 out of 10. It's not terrible. Just 2, 3 changes, and I feel like it would have been at its full potential at 8 out of 10 because I
Mhm.
mean, overall, as with the players that we have, we can't really do anything with it.
Yeah, I probably give it a 7 out of 10. That's a solid ranking. It's just passing because it's really what these players are. They just pass. Some of them questionably there. Would have been at least an 8 or 9 if at least those three players that we could have replaced them with, like Canelo, Marcel, Mosso. At least if they could have been in there somewhere, I think it would have been an 8 or 9 out of 10 for sure.
Yeah.
And now in this next part, we're gonna give our predicted lineups. This is what we made up over here. Obviously, I think this is pretty straightforward. A 4-2-3-1. It's what he's been playing it since he took over. So, do you agree with the 4-2-3-1? I know you said that 4-4-2 is probably or it could happen, but realistically, I think this is the most probable lineup.
Yeah,
Um, this is a list that we both in agreement thought was going to be the starting lineup against Honduras. So you guys let us know if you made it to this part of the video. Let us know if you agree with our predicted lineup. Malagon in goal, solid. Sanchez at right back, iffy.
bro.
Montes and then Chiquete Orozco. There's no Johan Vasquez. Jesus Angulo has been doing things impeccably well with Tigres, and anytime he's been called up, also Romo Alvarez. That midfield is a little slow. I'm not gonna lie, but I mean, in the game against the US, they did okay. Pineda has been the 10 and has been pretty well as well. Chino Huerta, the left wing, undoubtedly. I think between him and the two center backs, Malagon maybe and Raul Jimenez up top, they're probably the ones that for sure are always going to be there, or they're like there's no doubt about them being there. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
And then at right wing, that's also where things get iffy. It could be Diego Lainez. It could be Osiel Herrera, who played right wing against Valencia. We both chose Vega, so I think that is also possible. It's a position that he's no stranger to. Obviously, we know that from the left side he plays a lot better, but he can play on the right if he needs to. So overall, Tomas, you agree with this? What would you rate this lineup?
I'd rate it at like a 7 out of 10.
Who would you
It's,
feel, or how would you make it a 9 or 10 out of 10?
I think it's probably just going to 4-4-2. Having Romo and Alvarez right there,
Mhm.
same thing. But just because thinking about it, Honduras is a team that doesn't create anything, right? They hit everything through counter and through passion. If we're gonna play them at their house first, why not just play the same chopped football? Just kick the ball forward. Just do
Mallorca
the same
ball.
thing that they're doing. If they don't want to, if they want us to create, well, we're not gonna create. We want you guys to create and just
Mhm.
counter their tactics with the same tactic. Let's see how they react, and I guarantee you that we'll probably win that game.
That'd be an ugly ass game though to watch for sure.
I
Maybe
mean,
maybe win it or it could possibly draw 0-0 as well. I can see that happening. And
because the last time that we wanted to come out and be able to touch versus Honduras or to touch against a Central American team away, we always usually lose.
yeah, the last time we went to Honduras, we lost 2-0, and that's what made everything a lot more difficult, our qualification to Copa America.
It's
So
because of that.
it's very possible. And then they're calling up almost the same players, and most of their players are are from the Hondureño League, coming from Olimpia. They have a few MLS players and then like one or two European based players, that plays for Celtic. Other than that, I mean, I get you where you're saying that they're gonna just come out with passion and then see what they can create. That's it.
Yeah,
There's not gonna be much idea going forward.
we've seen this before. They defend first, attack second, maybe even third, fourth, but it's defend first, and then it's just, well, however we could score. But it's never been a Honduras team where we're afraid of how they're going to create or how they're able to finish. It's really just, I mean, and that stadium's going to be packed as well. So I mean, it's
Yeah,
everything.
I heard the tickets were sold out.
Yeah. So I mean, it's like that's like Honduras' mini World Cup right there, being in Mexico. So
That's true. What I like is that it's sold out, and it's gonna finally put this team and this group of players against some adversity. So instead of constantly playing in the States, or I mean, yeah, playing in Mexico, there can be a hostile environment, but I don't think they've really experienced that just yet. Now they're going to come up against some serious hostility playing in Honduras with, I mean, everything going at them. So we'll see what happens. See how the Mexican national team can react. That's our predicted lineup. Let us know if you guys agree, and then I guess we'll see what happens to see how Mexico reacts against Honduras. Will be a difficult match. Tomas, you want to throw in a little prediction for at least just the first
uh,
leg?
I think it's either a tie or I feel like Javier Aguirre will come out defensively.
Okay.
So I feel
Can
like
you give a
it's either a
number?
tie or a 1-0.
1-0.
1-0, 1-1, 0-0.
I'm gonna go for a 1-0 for Mexico. I think we just have the quality that will get us forward. I think this group of players, I think they will react specifically because I mean they have to. We have a new coach, the new manager bounce. They've performed somewhat well. The game against the US will definitely give them a little bit of confidence going forward. So I think there is confidence within the squad. Not really that much negativity going around. So I think a 1-0 would be an okay result. Anything more than that, I'd be surprised. I'd hope so, but I guess we'll see what happens. Other than that, Tomas, thank you for hopping on, and we'll see you guys after the Tuesday matchup. I think the second leg will be the next time we'll record. Yeah, peace out. Thank you guys.